All right, well, shuffle some stuff around. Try and decide what I want to do. I kind of want to button up the frame, but I don't think I can do it yet until, well, yeah, I got to do those front horns, but I mean, I can always bob those and paint that after. I do want to paint the chassis, but I think what I got to tackle first is basically, I'll get the rear diff cleaned up. I'm going to get the brakes on, and I want to make, like get some e-brake cables and run my e-brake lines where they got to go, because I'll probably have to do weld some tabs onto the frame and stuff. So probably should get that out of the way first, and then we'll tie in the end of these frame rails into my fuel tank mount yet, just to clean up the back of the frame for myself. Yeah. So we'll have to clean up our routers, but I'm going to go through rotors here, measure them, make sure they're still good. I do have a box of all new parts, so I all got new pads, e-brake stuff, all that stuff is all going to be new into the back. So and then after we're done that, we may as well clean this up, get the diff painted while it's off, and then we can kind of figure out the rest, I guess. Figure out all the stuff here. The motor trans can come back out again. I'll do the couple gussets on here, or at least the one that I said I wanted to do. And just get the chassis ready for some paint. I'm going to do the same paint that I did in here, so I'm just going to brush it on. It's not a big deal. It's a little slow at drying, that's for sure. It's like dry, but still kind of tacky. This is all from last night, so all good. It'll get done. Anywho, let's get the wheels off and figure out what I'm doing in the back here. All right, we pulled the wheels. I haven't done anything with the diff yet. I got to pull these back off. The dust cover, my inspection cover was kind of all banged up, so I got those all straightened out. I'm gonna pull the rotors off now. I guess I'll probably start with my e-brakes. I got all my stuff there and my lines, but we'll probably take that off, clean up everything a little bit. I took the calipers, kind of heated them up, got my bleeders loose, so they're good to go. I figured I was there. I just quickly needle scaled it, shot a bit of paint on it, whatever. We're there, may as well do it. Kind of random. I've never had it. I guess the straw that's in here fell down because it doesn't actually spray out unless you hold the can upside down. Can't say I've ever seen that before. Anyway, I'm gonna let that dry. I'm gonna tear this stuff all apart and get the e-brake stuff on, so then I can figure out where my line is, where I'm gonna route it, make a bracket on the chassis for it, and then I'll figure out what I'm gonna do for a yank handle or something in the truck yet for my emergency brakes. I have the original cables that would be for whatever this exploder is. So what I'm gonna do is I'll attach it to the one side, I'm gonna sling it over, and then have both of them up into a common point on the frame rail here that I can kind of route up to an e-brake handle when the time comes. But for now, I think what I'm going to do is I'll probably take the diff out so that I can put it on a stand or do something, so I can run the needle scaler on it, get all the crap off of it. I'll probably just paint it with that same paint that I used for my chassis to get that all buttoned up, get that painted with it, and then we can start putting all the brakes and stuff on it. That was a learning experience. Holy crap, is that a lot of work to get those things off. It's gonna suck putting it back together. I got it apart, so I'm cleaning everything up. This whole e-brake mech was like just seized solid. So I pretty much just stripped it. I gotta now basically lube it all up and throw it back on. I'm gonna clean this, wire brush this out a bit. Inside here, get all these little, try to clean it as good as I can, slam a little bit of paint on it, and basically I'm going to start needle scaling the rest of this thing. This side wasn't as bad, but it's still, the mech is still kind of goofy. It's got basically all the same brake parts, but just a lot of work to get at them. So I don't know what the trick would be with you, but kudos to you mechanics there. Holy crap, is that a, well, I guess it doesn't help that everything was like stuck like crazy too, but anyway, let's get this cleaned up, get them on, get a little bit of paint here. I want to get the back all chiseled up and painted as well, and then I guess that'd be about all I can do for tonight while I wait for paint to dry. Okay, anyways, let's keep going here. Right. My weapon of choice for this is, I guess they call it just a needler. It's just an air gun with these little doodads on. It just hammers and knocks off all the heavy loose rust, and this thing's like good enough for paint now. For the paint that I'm using, it's good enough because it wants this to stick onto. It's that rust encapsulate and cap. It's a rust paint. Anywho, I'm probably going to paint this later tonight. I don't think I want to do it right now. I want to go in for supper, and but I'm going to get some paint on there. We'll probably bolt it back in the chassis because we'll probably just leave this in, and when I come back to painting the chassis, I can do it with the diff in it. Won't be a big deal. We'll just pull the body and try to get paint on everything that we can, and drop the body back down and bolt her down. Anywho, I am going to clean up, sweep up here a bit, and then we're going to go to the house for supper. Is that the plan, bud? Yes. Yes. Don't look so upset. Don't look so sad, eh? Don't look so sad. All right. Anyways, back in a bit. Well, kind of chaos around. We kind of just been painting whatever I can paint. So we got a coat on the back, half of the chassis, all this stuff. We'll do the rest when I pull the cab off. That'll be fine. The diff's got a good coat on. We're just basically, well, there's not much I can do tonight. We got to let this dry. I want to bolt the back together, be sort of like the last time, like it's kind of the finished product. Get it on there, get the e-brakes on, get the brake lines run wherever they're going to go, and then kind of pick away. We'll kind of, I guess maybe at some point I'll pull the cab off. I got to figure out what I got to get for a fuel pump and then a regulator. I know I got some regulators. I just don't know if they're the return style depending on the fuel pump I kind of get. But I guess it's really all I can do for now. Basically, I'm watching paint dry, so it's kind of pointless to sit here and just stare at it. So anyhow, till tomorrow, we'll see how much paint I can track around the shop. This stuff, like when you get it on you, it is like a permanent fixture. It's like urethane almost. Anyhow, till tomorrow. Holy. Well, you've never lived life until you've tried to put emergency brakes in a Ford Explorer diff. Holy, is that an insane amount of work. I still have no way of, no simple way of doing this, so I'm gonna time lapse this. I may speed it up about 1,000 times because this is crazy. Oh, I gotta get a stud first though. Dang it. So I'm gonna get a wheel stud, but this is crazy. Like, I've never had such a hard time doing anything that I have putting emergency brakes into this diff. There's so much garbage that you got to put behind the axle. I almost think it would be easier to take the diff apart, pull the axle out, just to do the emergency brakes. Crazy. Power to you guys, you mechanics out there that work on this stuff. Jeepers. I'm not in any hurry to do it again, I'll tell you that. Well, I have to do it one more time, but I got to get a wheel stud first though. So I'm going to do that, and then I can get this diff together. Okay, what did we all do? We got our e-brakes hooked up. Well, they're sort of hooked up. I kind of have to get those cables all snugged up yet, but we got our rear brake lines on. We got, things are sort of bolted together. I haven't done the hairpins yet. They're not tight because I don't know if it's straight to the frame and my pinion angle yet. So we'll leave that to be. I'm gonna have to run my brake line up here and then I can kind of run it off to the front, because I didn't really realize how screwy these disc brakes are. They kind of went back behind the frame or something weird. So no big deal. We'll figure that out. And right here we have our e-brake stuff, but it looks like I'm gonna have to do this in a two-phase something, because it's not really doing what I want it to do. So somehow I'm probably gonna have to do one line up here, and then I'll do another one like back there, which is not a big deal. I'll tie into the two lines. It's just not very symmetrical, I guess is the right word. I might not like the way that's set up anyways. Maybe I'll change this. I kind of go in here and I'm gonna go under the drive shaft. So I'm not sure there yet. We'll have to figure that one. I'm gonna figure it out yet. I just want to do a bit of welding on here. I will make some mounts. Right, buddy? We gotta make some mounts. We're gonna make some mounts around here. These tabs I keep saying I'm gonna take off, I'm gonna do those. And I think everything else is pretty much ready. We can just kind of lay some paint down. So we can at least get this part of the frame painted up to the front, if that makes sense. I still have to make some spacers in here yet, but I probably should heat and bend these things over so I can weld them. Okay, as soon as you let me go, as soon as you're content, then I think I'll start. Hey? Oh, forgot about this. So I pulled the transmission out. I got my hydraulic slave cylinder, but it doesn't seem right. So I don't know if I got the right one or the wrong one. I'm not 100% sure. I think if I machine this down, it'll do what I want. I'm going to see if I can find the right one first. I'm just measuring up inside because hopefully you can see in here. I don't know. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. But you can see the sleeve is too far, so I'm gonna have to cut that inner sleeve out of the way if I can actually get you guys in there to see it. I kind of just marked it, but that slave cylinder is too long, so I don't know. It said Ford on the box and it's supposed to be Chevy. Hello, your head is heavy. Hey, your head is heavy. Man, if I'm at his level, I'm pretty screwed, right? I'm pretty screwed. Oh. There, where do you want some rubs? Where do you want some rubs? Right down there? What's that? Nope. Hey, gonna leave me alone? No. Why would I do that? Well, I got my tabs welded. Of cross members welded. We pulled off that stuff, cleaned it up. I welded up these e-brake tabs. They're kind of staggered, so I think they'll be fine. Like the one goes up here, the one goes back there. So I think I'll be able to rig up something to my e-brake handle that I don't have yet. But I think for now, I think all I'm going to do is just get some paint on the rest of this chassis. I can do at least up to, I'll do up to the cross member, and then I can deal with this after, once I figure out what I'm doing for front frame horns. But for this part, I'd like to just get some paint on it anyways, kind of get it to the same state as the back, I guess. Get it semi one color. I'm sure I'm going to have to touch it up a bunch of times, as I probably still going to get the cab on and off a couple more times, most likely, but for now, yeah, it's something to do. Finish off the night here. So let's get painting. Good times. Well, that's not too bad. Still lots of paint in there. So you pretty much have the whole chassis done, except for this front part. I haven't touched any of this because I'm going to cut that off yet and change the front horn profile. It's not really, I'm going to cut it in front. Well, I don't know where I'm going to cut it, but all I know is it's not the right shape that I want for the front of the car. I learned from last time, put gloves on, although I still have a mess on the floor, so I'm going to find a rag and clean that up quick before I trek it all over the floor. I don't know, it doesn't look too bad. This is actually super fancy for me as far as how I'm doing this thing. But let me get a rag and clean this up first. I got some shims up in there. I got to tighten up all the suspension, but I have all my my axles, everything are all squared up. Basically what it is, I found a common point here. Both sides, there's like a body mount. They're the same both sides. So I squared the axle up to them. I squared the front axles up to it. And then I went crisscross just to make sure everything's all square. So we're all good there. The only thing left to do now is in the front, these knuckles touch. So, well, the steering arm, ignore this one, I got to remake this one. But this arm, or this lower link, actually rubs on this arm. So I'm going to have to heat and bend this thing up a little bit. And then I got to do that to both sides. So that's not a big deal. But at least we can get, that'll be done, and then the steering will all be done other than the cross link. So for now, I think I'm going to leave this video at this. I know for the next video for sure what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be tackling these front horns. And I'm going to fix up this front cross, the steering here. I'm going to make up a new link for it. And I guess I'll take this apart because I'm not running this arm on it. So I'm going to take this off. I'm going to put some regular bolts. I have some more of this style of bolts, so I'll have to pull this rotor off, all that jazz. Maybe we'll make some lines. I don't know. That'll probably be closer to when I get the, like, figure out my headlights and my shock mounts and all that stuff. But anyways, for now, I think that's where I'm going to leave this one. Like I say, we'll get the front end all buttoned up on the next one, I think. But as always, I want to thank you folks for watching. And we'll catch you on the next one.